I think I'm live, but I don't know if anybody's here, so. Hey. I'm missing my lovely background now. I'm just in my sad corner of my own house, not my mom's beautiful bookshelf. And I have tea. Oh, and my beautiful mug that Raven gave me. It's like a commercial. Oh, and for those that are watching later, Raven's not here. I guess I'll have to say it more than once, but Raven's not here because she's sick. So it's just me on this flagship alone. Hey, Rachel. And no, I'm not talking to myself. There is another Rachel. Oh, and I'm wearing my book club shirt. I feel like I should have had music playing in the background so then it's not super awkward of me just sitting here. Oh, Vivi. Ooh, Rachel, you'll have to tell us. Rachel said she's prepping for dinner. What are you making? And Rachel, you should link your Instagram channel because she does sourdough and stuff, and it always looks so beautiful. Hello, Vivian. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and get started because I don't know who's going to get here or not, and I don't want to hold everybody up. So, did everybody read all the chapters? I know there were a lot of chapters. Well, there were equal amounts chapters, but why did it feel like this week was so much larger? I don't know. These chapters felt way bigger. Oh, Rachel's making chili. Okay, so we ended last week on a cliffhanger of somebody had attacked Mrs. Joe, right? And so we find out that she survived, but that she's maybe not the same. And I thought it was hilarious because Mr. Joe makes some sort of comment about how now she's like so much better. Like her, what does he say? Like her attitude has improved since the attack, which is kind of cringy because he, because she doesn't really communicate now. And Raven said she read ahead again, which is, I can't do that because then I don't know where to stop talking to people at. So I stopped at 30, even though, yes, I would have loved to have gone on. But I will tell y'all that I just squeaked in and finished chapter 30 today. So don't feel bad if you haven't gotten there yet. And Jackie joined. Hey, Jackie. So, Jackie, we were just talking about Mrs. Joe and how she's now a wonderful person since she's been attacked and is no longer her awful self. And I really liked, I don't know about y'all, but I really liked when they brought in Biddy. So Biddy was the character that they brought in to help Mrs. Joe and to like take care of her. And, I feel like this lighting is a lot, people, but, anyways, back to Biddy. I really, really liked her and she just was so sweet. And I feel like I could relate to her so much because she seemed to be like the sweet, overlooked person who was always just trying to do right by people, but never like, you know, the one that people picked. So I felt like I could relate to her. I don't know if anybody else did, but Raven said she loved Biddy too. And when, like, I'm jumping ahead, but when she wrote him that letter about how, you know, you should really check in with Joe, and I just thought that that was so sweet, and how you can tell she's just always the one that's looking out for everybody else's feelings. So at the beginning of these chapters that we read, Pip gets his, you know, great expectation of becoming a gentleman, and so he gets whisked off to London to start doing his learned things so he can become a gentleman. So I do want to point out that Dickens made a point to talk about how gross London was, which I think is so funny from somebody who doesn't, hasn't ever been. You always think of London as being this like wonderful, beautiful, like city. And the way he talks about London in that beginning was kind of funny. It was just trash talking and talking about how much it stank and stuff like that. And so, and he did live there. Dickens did live there, but a lot of his books take place there. And so it's very interesting because I'm pretty sure that that's how it probably really was. So, and then what I found super interesting was that we get Miss Havisham's backstory of why she ended up being so crazy and not ever moving on past her wedding day. So, did everybody get at least through that part? So y'all know what I'm talking about. And I will tell you that having read this in 8th grade, that is the part of the story that really stuck with me, was the fact that she had this traumatic breakup, I guess, and just could not move on. But going back and reading the story, it really, I don't know, I just feel so bad for her. And I can't imagine being that devastated and never able to move on, feeling that wronged. But I think it really is going to be like a catalyst for how we see her continue to manipulate Pip and Estella, and how she kind of wants that to play out. And she's even made comments so far as to say, like, don't you really love her? Don't you think she's so beautiful? Like, to Pip, encouraging him to like her, knowing that she doesn't really want them to be together. She just wants Estella to be used to hurt Pip in the long run. So, and so I think adding in that backstory kind of makes you feel a little bit bad for her and kind of understanding, but still does not make her any more likable. And so then later on in the last little chapters that we read, Pip goes back to the town, right? And he is going, well, first Joe comes to say hello and check in with Pip. And to let him know that Estella is back in town for him to go, maybe he should go talk to her. But I thought that interaction was really, really cringe, the way he was so embarrassed by Joe. And you can already see that he's starting to think that he's better than him, which had been coming on for a while. But now he's really feeling like that. But I thought it was interesting, too, that when he's hanging out with the other guys his age and now his social class, he really didn't feel like he fit in with them either. So that was interesting to me. Just kind of like, I don't know that he really feels like he fits in anywhere. Jackie's asking how old Pip is right now. I would think like late teens. I'm not really sure. And Raven said she just likes how he treats Joe. I think you can really start seeing the snobbiness coming out, right? The longer he is in this gentleman lifestyle, the more he's kind of feeling entitled. And it's interesting, the friend that lives at the same place with him, I can't think of that guy's name, but how he even kind of looks down on him a little bit now that he's the one that has more money. So, and he's helping this other guy out. So, I don't know. I thought that was really, it's interesting how, and you have to stick with Dickens because this is what he does, but he's going to just keep reiterating the same thing of Pip's being snobby. And it's just going to come out in different ways and treating different people different ways. But it's the same, like, I'm just reminding you that now he thinks he's better than everybody kind of thing. So after Joe comes to visit, and he's really not super nice to him then Pip goes back to where they originally live, and then totally doesn't even go and say hello to Joe, because he can't even imagine himself being there at the same place. And I just find that super sad. But yet he goes to visit Miss Havisham and to still pursue this courtship and thinks he's still in love with Estelle and all this stuff, but really not, like, totally missing keeping the relationship going with his family. So and that's kind of where we left off. He does go back to London by chapter 30, and they're gonna, a new escapades is about to start. But I think this section that we read really cleared up what's going on with Miss Havisham and why she's crazy, and really starting to push into that Pip just being kind of not really fitting in anywhere, but really having this, like, I'm better than everybody else thought process. So that's the check-in. I'm going to be short and sweet today because it's just me. But I'm glad that everybody's coming along with us, and it's totally okay if you did not get to read all the chapters. I know December is, like, not the best time to try to read a ginormous Dickens book, but I promise if you stick with it and push through, that it'll be so worth it at the end. So if you are behind, you're not really behind. You can make up the time. But it's okay if it takes you into a little bit of January too, as long as you finish. So don't leave it hanging. And Raven just said Pip definitely needs therapy to work through his issues. Sadly, I don't think that that's offered at this time period. But yes, we'll just continue to see Pip struggle through this. Jackie said this seems like such a normal transition when kids leave home, moving on and thinking better than their family, or just seeing people and change of perspective. Totally. And I hesitate to say he's, like, going through that teenage thing, but we do see this a lot of times in our society now, right? Where kids go away to college and think that they know better, and, I'm going to go my own way and do it better because I don't know why y'all picked to do it, like that kind of thing to their parents, and really losing sight of the reasons why their parents were doing that to begin with. So hopefully most teenagers come back and realize that, oh, that was, why we were doing that. But anyway, so I just want to encourage everyone to keep going, and it'll be worth it. It'll be so worth it. So I hope everyone has a great week.